Federal government files 20-count fresh charge against suspended CBN Governor Emefiele. Gunmen attack school, kill 2 teachers, injure vice principal in Plateau State. Inflation sustains 7-month rise. And on the foreign scene, 5 dead as boat carrying refugees sinks off Tunisia. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Amina Yuguda. The federal government has applied to withdraw the illegal possession of firearms charge if filed against suspended Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele at the Federal High Court in Lagos. The judge had on July 25th admitted Emefiele to a 20 million naira bail on a 2-count charge of illegal possession of firearms and ammunition and ordered his remand at the Ikoyi Correctional Center pending the fulfillment of his bail conditions. But the Department of State Services rearrested him after a clash with prison officials. On Tuesday, Director of Public Prosecutions at the Federal Ministry of Justice, Muhammad Abubakar, told Justice Nicholas Owebo that the fresh application followed the result of further investigations. But Defense Counsel Joseph Dodu opposed him, arguing that because the government was in disobedience of the court's order granting Emefiele bail, its application could not be taken. Speaking with journalists after the day's proceedings, Abubakar said the fresh charges were filed at the Federal Capital Territory High Court. On June 9th, Tinubu has suspended Emefiele and ordered investigations into some allegations leveled against him. Tinubu later appointed a special investigator to probe CBN. Amid this probe, the Apex Bank released its audited financial statement, which showed that it is owing JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs a combined sum of $7.5 billion as of the financial year ended December 2022. And gunmen have killed 2 secondary school teachers and injured the vice principal of Beko Comprehensive High School in Creek community of Riyam local government area of Plateau State. The deceased, Ruang Eladi and Sandra Ruang Eladi, were a couple who recently got married. The spokesperson of Biram Youth Molder Association, Ruang Tengwang, who confirmed the incident on Tuesday, said the victims were killed on Monday when the staff of the school were holding a meeting in preparation for a speech and prize-giving day scheduled to hold on Friday. The group accused Fulani herders of killing the teachers, explaining that the herders opened fire on the staff of the school when they were asked to leave the school compound while the meeting was ongoing. But the state chairman of Gang Allah Fulani Development Association, Garba Abdullahi, denied the allegations, saying the killing was not carried out by Fulani herders, adding that herders were not grazing around the said school, calling on the security to investigate the matter and fish out the perpetrators of the act. The spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, is yet to respond to the inquiry on the matter by our correspondent. As part of efforts to eradicate armed banditry and criminal elements from Operation Safe Haven Joint Operation Area, troops of Operation Hapurin Damisa 4 have neutralized 2 armed robbers in southern Kaduna general area. Captain Oya James, who disclosed this to journalists in Jos, said the troops of the operation had also arrested 62 suspects in connection with armed banditry, gun running, kidnapping, armed robbery, and other heinous crimes, adding that the operation had recovered 4 locally fabricated rifles, 2 Dane guns, 21 rounds of 7.62mm special, 13 rounds of 9mm, 11 cartridges, 6 AK-47 magazines, amongst other dangerous weapons. The spokesperson of the operation also said troops have also recovered 43 Russell cows and 17 sheep, adding that a total number of 426 cows were recovered for grazing on farmlands belonging to locals across Operation Safe Haven Joint Operation Area and were handed over to local authorities in the local government for settlement in liaison with the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. The Zamfara State Governor, Dauda Lawal, wants more military presence and intervention to tackle insecurity in the state. Governor Lawal made the call when he received the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, at the Government House, Gusau. A statement by the governor's spokesperson, Suleiman Idris, said that the Army Chief had a very lengthy discussion with the governor on how to improve synergy and foster ways to combat the menace of banditry in the state. While in Zamfara State, he had a closed-door meeting with Governor Lawal, where key important security issues were discussed. The governor and the Chief of Army Staff brainstormed strategies that would enhance military operations to restore peace in the state. Lieutenant General Lagbaja assured the governor that in a few weeks there would be an aggressive military operation in Zamfara State. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, says it has no plan to raise the pump price per litre of premium motor spirit, PMS, also known as petrol. In a terse statement on Monday night, the company urged Nigerians to disregard speculations of a fresh hike in price of the premium product. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, had on Monday warned the NNPC Limited against fresh petrol price hike. However, NNPC Limited spokesman Muhammad Garbadin in a statement said the company has no intention to increase petrol price for the third consecutive time since the removal of petrol subsidy on May 29, 2023. There seems to be no respite for Nigerians after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidy in his inaugural speech on May 29th. With the announcement, the pump price of a litre of petrol rose from 184 to 500 naira. About 2 months later, the price jumped from 500 to over 607 naira on Tuesday, July 18th, eliciting anger and criticism from economically stranded citizens. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, had blamed the second petrol price hike on market forces. Transportation costs has since galloped and its attendant economic implications felt on food prices, with the organized labor protesting the anti-people policies of the Tinubu administration. The unprecedented increase in the price of petrol from 184 per litre to over 600 naira occurred amid the unification of the foreign exchange rates by the Tinubu administration, as well as rising inflation rates. A senior magistrate court 3B Ongwangaji, Winner, Niger State, has remanded a 55-year-old Yo Ibrahim of Kundu Village, Rafi local government area of the state in Minna Old Correctional Center till September 11 for allegedly raping and infecting a 6-year-old girl with a sexually transmitted disease. The police prosecutor Inspector Aliu Yakubu told the court that on August 3rd, one Abdullahi Dauda of the same village reported at Kagara Police Division that a suspect lured his 6-year-old daughter, who is currently in primary 1, to his room and had unlawful intercourse with her. Inspector Yakubu also told the court that the little girl sustained injuries on her private part, leading to severe bleeding. He said the offense contravenes Section 26 and 27 of the Child Right and Protection Law, Niger State 2021, as amended. When the charges were read by the magistrate Hafsat Abdullahi, the suspect pleaded guilty, saying that he was seduced by the little girl after he sent her to help him buy water when he came back from his farm. The prosecution prayed court to summarily try the suspect, but the presiding magistrate, Hafsat Abdullahi, overruled summary trial, averring that it wouldn't serve the justice to the victim. The magistrate said more witnesses are required, even though the suspect had confessed and ordered for his remand, while the case was adjourned till September 11 for hearing. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, in Zamfara State says it frowned at extrajudicial killings and illegal arrests of persons accused of being armed bandits. Informants by volunteer groups, popularly known as Insakai, who take the laws into their hands. The state's coordinator of the commission, Abdullahi Abubakar, disclosed this while speaking with journalists in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, over the renewed spate of attacks, abductions and killings, where he stated the commission is investigating the cases of extrajudicial killings and illegal arrests in the state. The report.
According to Abdullahi, there are many of such cases in Zamfara state which the commission is investigating in order to ensure justice for the victims and prevent future occurrences, even as he calls on Governor Dauda Lawal to move fast to engage residents of the troubled communities to discuss ways they can collectively join to tackle the insecurity in the state.
We need to sit down with major traditional leaders in the area. That's the emirs, the district heads. They know they should identify the people that they know. Then from there, he should also sit down with all security personnel in that local government.
Abubakar urges the military, which is launching the ongoing offensive against the armed bandits, to change the strategy because despite the efforts of the troops to rout them, they are, however, emboldened daily and the military has not been able to capture any of their leaders.
Even though the security personnel are doing their best, especially Nigerian Air Force and Nigerian Army, even the Nigerian police too, they do have some arrests. The Nigerian Air Force are doing attacks. The Nigerian Army are doing their own. That's the ground truth, but it's not the way to go, and it's not enough because there is no day that will pass without hearing an abduction in the state, without hearing from 2-3 local governments. There are killings, there are abductions, even through the federal roads, they do block the roads and fight all the
commuters.
Yes, the commuters. So there is a need for them to change this style, and what I feel is I should still go back to the engagement with the locals.
The National Human Rights Commission NHRC coordinator called on federal and Zamfara state governments to be proactive to stop the spate of attacks, abductions, and killing of innocent citizens by armed bandits to ensure peace return to troubled and rural communities, to enable farmers to go about carrying out their lawful activities without fear of being attacked.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we take a look at the diverse opinions over summer school. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news on Trust TV update. Details after this break.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation.
with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago, you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. Federal government files 20-count fresh charge against suspended CBN Governor Emefiele. And gunmen attack school, kill 2 teachers, injure vice principal in Plateau State. Moving on to more stories, the headline inflation rate for the month of July 2023 increased from 24.08% compared to 22.79% recorded in June 2023. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has stated. NBS in a report said the rise represents an increase of 1.29 percentage points from the June 2023 headline inflation. The report stated that the increase in the headline index for July 2023 was attributed to an increase in contributions of some items in a basket of goods and services at a divisional level. The NBS says these increases were witnessed in food and non-alcoholic beverages, 12.47%, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuel. Clothing and footwear, transport, furnishings and household equipment and maintenance, education and health, others are miscellaneous goods and services, restaurants, hotels, alcohol beverages, tobacco and cola, recreation and culture, and communication. The report showed that food component sub-index increased by 26.98% on a year-on-year basis, which was 4.97% higher relative to the rate recorded in June 2022. For all items less farm produce, its figure stood at 20.47% in July on a year-on-year basis. With the long holidays comes summer school. This is a process where pupils are sent to take lessons while the school is on a long vacation. Jimmy Adzande spoke to Makurdi residents who expressed divergent opinions on summer school.
To school administrators and educationists, the summer school is a make-up period for pupils who are slow learners or who easily forget what they have learned during the regular school period.
Some parents, not because they are lazy, but because they felt maybe their children did not do well in the past exams, going to another class, and they feel the summer lesson will aid the children instead of keeping them home, and that is why they enroll them. Not totally because they are lazy or they cannot take care of their children or they don't have time for their children, but they feel that it's another way where the parents are a little bit lacking. They should the teachers should help them to put the children up to date.
Others, however, said the summer school is supposed to be a time for extracurricular activities and nothing more.
The perspective of the parents, parents have so many engagements, and during the holidays, find it difficult for someone who will stay with children at home. They find it easier that they should stay under that kind of controlled environment. That's on one part. From the part of those who are engaged in summer school activities is for economic, motives. The idea of summer schools is not supposed to be the way it is now. At this time, children should be exposed to extracurricular activities, maybe visit places where they can have, they can take rest and have some forms of recreation. Not the kind of formal schooling as they were during, the term.
To some, it is overworking the young learners who should rest like every normal human being.
For me, there's no basis for summer school. The students are supposed to study for a term and then rest. And so where is the rest? When the students, the pupils or the students are on holiday and you are calling them for summer school, because they're supposed to refresh themselves and be ready for another session of their educational career. If a child is good, whether he goes through summer school or whatever, it can still be good.
Either way, summer school has come to stay. The good thing is that enlisting one's wealth is voluntary. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
And in foreign news, at least 5 people have died and 7 others are missing after their Europe-bound boat sank off Tunisia's coast. Coast Guard units recovered the bodies of 5 migrants and rescued 23 people, while 7 others are missing after a boat carrying mostly Tunisians, but also sub-Saharan Africans sank off Sidi Mansour. The deaths include at least 1 child and 2 women. Tunisia lies on a major route for refugees and migrants traveling to Europe. The number of people departing from Tunisia and trying to reach Europe has significantly increased in recent months. According to the International Organization for Migration, more than 1,800 people had died this year, double last year's total of the central Mediterranean route. A fire and explosion at a petrol station in the southern Russian region of Dagestan has killed at least 36 people, including 3 children, and injured more than 100, according to local officials and news reports. The fire started at an auto repair shop on the roadside of the highway in the Dagestani capital, Makhachkala, which is located on the Caspian Sea, on Monday night and caused blasts spreading to a nearby petrol station, officials said earlier on Tuesday. Russia's emergency ministry reported on Tuesday that a total of 105 people were injured and more than 30 people had died. An aircraft had been dispatched to Makhachkala to evacuate the seriously injured to Moscow. 13 children were amongst the 105 injured by the blast, Russia's Interfax news agency reports. Now in sports news, Spain beat Sweden in a thrilling finish to reach their first Women's World Cup final. Captain Olga Carmona scored an 89th minute winner to spark wild scenes of jubilation amongst their supporters at Eden Park, Auckland. Sweden, who have now lost back-to-back to World Cup semi-finals, had equalized through Rebecca Blomqvist just 93 seconds earlier, and it looked like the match would be going to extra time. A game of few chances had sparked into life when substitute Salma Paraluelo, 19, gave Spain the lead with just 10 minutes remaining. They will face England or Australia in the final in Sydney on Sunday. The semi-final between the Lionesses and the co-hosts will be on Wednesday. West Ham's move for Manchester United's Harry Maguire has stalled due to uncertainty over whether the defender is prepared to join the club. A £30 million deal was agreed on 9th August, but the Hammers have received no word back from Maguire about when the deal will be completed, even though it had been felt he was willing to make the move to the London Stadium. Maguire struggled for first-team opportunities last season and was stripped of the captaincy this season. The England international was on the bench for United's 1-0 win over Wolves on Monday, but did not get on, even though manager Erik ten Hag used 5 substitutes and replaced central defender Lisandro Martinez with Victor Lindell at half-time. Prior to that game, Ten Hag had said Maguire would be better off leaving United if he's not confident enough to battle for a first-team spot. It is possible the deal with West Ham could be revived, but for the moment it is regarded as stalled, and manager David Moyes is looking at alternatives. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust TV News Update. Do not forget to follow us on our digital platforms and social media for more news and programming. I'm Amina Yuguda.